Daryl McKeever, Moments in Motivation.
Hey family, guess what? You can now follow on YouTube. Yes, YouTube. At Simple Learning 267. Moments in Motivation. And please pay me a visit at darylmckeever.com. darylmckeever.com. I'll see you there.
See, we can become impressed with those that seem to have the ear of God. There are always others who seem to have the ear of God, and we want to be in on that. We want to learn the ways of those that have a more eloquent presentation of prayer. Sometimes we become enthralled or impressed with that. Those that seem to have the ear of God, those that appear to have experience with the Creator. Sometimes we sit back or stand back in awe of the words that may come from their dissertation. But let's never forget that God is not moved nor impressed with eloquence, experience, education, status, theatrics, or time served in any form of position or church. He loves you and wants to communicate with you. No matter how simple, how rough, how uneloquent that dialogue may be, he wants you to talk to him. He wants to answer you. He wants to answer any and all that seek his voice. Prayer is much more than a laundry list that you're able to reel off at bedtime or some morning ritual. Prayer is much more than bowing one's head at the church service while the pastor or the elder give a very flowing dissertation. Prayer is very real. It is guttural. It's actually gut check time for you and for me. It's the time for us to express ourselves with our God. The same God that embraced us and saved us. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be pretty. It does not need to be public and proper in any way. It actually is a dialogue between you and your Father. It's your conversation. You know, as we look closer and just going to some scripture as we read Matthew 6:5, we should take on a new and maybe different perspective of what prayer is all about. As Jesus speaks in Matthew 6:5, and when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they'll be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask. I love Matthew 6. I love reading Matthew 6. I love those words. Those were the words of Jesus, the Christ, the one who saved us, who tells us it's good to be private with your Father. It's good to speak one-on-one. You don't need to be long. It doesn't need to babble on. It doesn't need to go on and on and on. He's giving us direct information about having successful communication, successful prayer. Prayer is a time, whoever you are, to truly converse privately with the Father that we love and totally trust, Remember, we trust him. He honors what is done in secret, in sincerity, from the heart. There are no brownie points for presentation. Just let it flow. Let it come out. However it comes out. Our God, being a totally all-knowing God, already knows what the need is. In his wisdom, he desires that we ask and count on him. We need to count on him, not ourselves, not our own intellect. That's the bond that he is searching for, that he is wanting for you to have. And step out of yourself and step into forming that relationship with him.